Lost in my mind, living through time. As deep as I'm searching, there's nothing I find that would give me a reason to give up my grind. So what, they don't hear you, who cares if they sleep? I'ma hustle to death till they wake to defeat. Never been the one to hide when the enemy seeks. Trying to keep me close range cause they scared of my reach. And they telling me I'm cold cause they scared of my heat. Kill 'em one shot like we playing hardcore. Who's best out of five? Well, you know I'm top four. And these
Show, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, all right. So we're talking about women empowering themselves. So I guess how me as a brother or as a boyfriend or as a husband or as a father figure, how do we help motivate? How do we positively influence and help motivate our women?
I'm gonna say one word: support. Just support. Just support. Be there mentally and emotionally. That's like the biggest thing that I feel like from the male perspective can, well, yeah, from y'all, from what y'all can do to help empower, your girlfriend, your wife, your sister, just support, just really have that genuine support, for her, because sometimes, like I said, a lot of, I said, we're emotional beings. So sometimes we just feel like we don't have that support from our counterparts, or whatever. Just like genuinely, just like be there. Not saying support as in like, okay, she goes into business and you got to go every time she posts something, you got to go reshare it and da 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 da. I mean, I've seen, I've seen guys do that too. You know what I'm saying? I follow a guy who does that for his girl. She sells clothes, and every time she posts a picture, he's putting that shit right on his story too.
Right.
And I can't imagine how that probably makes her feel to see that he's supporting her.
Right.
So I would just really just say from what from a male point of view, like what y'all can, it's just genuinely just be there, just genuinely just be there.
I think what we can do as males to support women, and it's something I actually struggle with too, because we're not as emotional as women are.
No.
We're more like time driven, so to speak. Like like it's done and over with, move on, or I gotta focus on this now, or we're always like in those moments of like, I'm saying, those realms of a time, we got so much time to do so much, I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so we kind of lose those emotional, that kind of like emotional factor to an extent, of course. But
yes.
I personally think, and something I struggle with a lot is patience from males.
Yes.
I think
yes,
because I don't, just as a generalization, I may be wrong, right? But just as a generalization, I've noticed that by women being emotionally driven creatures, right, it takes longer to process, understand, figure out, and absorb the direction and the intention, what I'm saying, and the mission behind what they're trying to accomplish when they start pressing forward with being an individual, right?
Exactly.
That women are more calculated, right? A guy kind of like go for it. Like, I'm gonna do it, and if I fuck up, I knew that was the wrong way. I'm gonna keep trying shit until it works.
Right.
And this comes because like with me and my lady, like, we plan on moving. We have a place out in Vegas and we want to move to it. We're out in Colorado, right? We're out in Colorado.
Yeah.
But the plan was put up for Airbnb and this and that, then the economy got fucked up because of Rona and all this, and it's getting super expensive to live here. And that's another story. But, so to my point is that even though we kind of have this safety net, she still wants to be super meticulous about the planning and the process to make sure she's going the right way. Whereas me, I'm like, well, fuck it. If something goes wrong, we'll figure it out.
Right. And we like, no, that's not how it go.
Right. And so I think for a guy to understand that women are different, not because they're women. I mean, it is because, but don't let that be kind of like the reason to have a battle of the sexes, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Don't let that be the thing that keeps you from understanding that other person, because they're a different sex than you, and there's some woman, and through history, women haven't been not only known, but haven't been given the opportunity to develop some of the things that we kind of have as men, as far as being not so much irrational, but more kind of like snap judgment. You know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of how men been programmed. We kind of had to be the providers, not have. I mean, if we're talking about history of, you know, men versus women, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of, that's kind of how we've been built up. I always have this argument with my lady, for example, that if there was a group of women 200 years ago that had an idea that they can be professional athletes, right now, today, at this point in time, there would be a woman that could play in the NBA or a woman that could play in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they say that can't happen now because of our stature versus a woman's stature, right? But that's all genetic programming and understanding. If women 200 years ago start developing themselves with these ideas of equality, right? And I can do that too, you know what I'm saying? Then they'd be able to accomplish that too, you know?
Exactly.
So I think a big disadvantage that women have is society works against you based on the structure of relativity. You know what I mean? Like a woman, like a guy's up here, a woman's down here, a guy should do this, a woman should do that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And as men, we don't know how to adapt the patience and understanding that you kind of have this disadvantage because we were built to do this and you're trying to build yourself to do this. You see what I'm saying? And we've had the push of society, and to society anyway, women had to push themselves through rebellion, so to speak. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
But it's just it's crazy because the structure of it is really what builds that disconnect. You know what I mean? And the programming of society. So back to what I was saying, I really think that the biggest thing for a male is to be able to establish that patience with the woman that he's trying to support.
That is true. That is true. Patience is also something that I will honestly say as well, on top of the support, you know, the emotional support, and patience. And I think pretty much having like that open communication, you know, amongst each other, you know, male, female, you know, having that open conversation. And like I said, just to be able to understand things from other people's point of views.
Right.
You know, I think that would really help when it comes to helping a woman be empowered coming from a male. You know, but you know, nowadays in today's society, like I follow so many dope entrepreneur women, and some of the men that do show, you know, support for that woman, you know, and I always find that it's more of a emotional support, you know, for them and whatnot. But like I said, nowadays it's like you see so many dope ass entrepreneurs, like women entrepreneurs, you know, and they're dominating it, you know, everywhere. So times have definitely changed, you know, as far as, you know, as what women can't do versus, you know, what they can, you know, it's like shit, hell, a lot of them say, fuck that, you know, hell, you can do it, I can do it, you know, I can do it too. And I'm going to do it, you know, with or without the support. And like I said, for a woman to have that mentality, she has to be a very strong-minded individual to go at it, you know, whether she has that support or not. You know, and I think those are the women that always tend to, like, really honestly, when they get to the top, they don't break easily, you know, because they felt like, all right, whether you support me or not, I'm gonna still, it's not gonna discourage me,
right?
You know, so, but coming from the male point of view, I think those are things that they can help to empower them. Like I said, just show support emotionally, you know, have the patience, you know, and just have that, you know, that communication, like that open, that open transparency when it comes to, like, you know, communication. Communication is really, really big, you know?
Yeah, I have this thing that scrolls on my screen, and hopefully now that you're in it, you'll watch an episode or two. But this thing scrolls on my screen and it says, growth is impossible without understanding. Understanding is impossible without communication. Something else that like came to me in a dream. I don't know if I heard it somewhere, but I feel like I made that shit up.
No, seriously, but it's it's real, you know, that it's true, because the content that I post on my business pages, you know, I haven't exactly found my tribe of women that I'm looking
Right.
for, you know, to
Right.
have all these big clients, you know. And I tell people, anybody that asks me about my coach, I'm like, I don't, call me crazy, but I don't want to be a guru. I don't want to
Right.
be this well-renowned person. That never been me. I'm a person who has so much empathy and compassion for people,
Right.
you
I
know,
think
sometimes feel
you
false.
so do you feel being a guru puts you in a state of
Hold on,
perfectionist in
sorry.
one so does being a guru like interpret as putting you in a state and like mastery of one thing, whereas you want to be more well-rounded and not just provide a specific type of direction?
I think that, yeah, I honestly think that's true, because most gurus that I see, they are in one specific area of
Mhm.
coaching. Either it's strictly business, they might be just a motivational speaker, you know, not really giving you tools and resource, you know, well, in the
Right.
tools and resources that they do give you is very minimal before you got to pay for the major shit,
Right.
you know. And for me, when I came into life coaching, I knew off bat that I didn't want to be a guru. I knew off bat that I genuinely wanted to help people one-on-one. You know, I'm like, I felt like it was more personal, and I was giving people more, like, by the time they left my life coaching, they had tools, resources, and strategies to face other things that may come up in their life, which is why I said I'm a believer of coaching the person and not the problem. I mean, because we're gonna solve the problem in the mix of it anyway. But if I'm showing you how to do it yourself, you know, you can use this in other other areas in your life, to where you're not so dependent on this life coach. You know, I don't want my clients to be dependent on me to where they need me year round. You know, it's not really all about the money for me. You know, of course, yeah, you make money, but
here's a crazy thing, and you know what? I always put extra motivation at the end of my show. So we've touched on some great things that I could put some extra motivational speeches in at the end. So anybody still watching, there's going to be extra motivation. It's going to touch a lot of the topics we've crossed, but that right there is a very good thing, and I'm going to make sure I touch on that more. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it just
no, you're fine. No, you're fine.
What did so outside of maybe losing sight of self, because that's a big thing, and having support of others, what do you think are some things that women deal with emotionally, like personally, that makes them feel less empowered, or maybe like they're not good enough or incapable of reaching, you know, these goals or breaking these thresholds? What do you think are some
a lack of confidence, insecurity, and fear. Fear is a big one. Don't get me wrong, everybody has something that they fear. But sometimes fear can really get in the way of so much. You know, fear can I have this thing where, you know, fear's only job is to survive.
right?
You know, if fear survives, it keeps you right where the fuck you are.
Right.
You know, if fear's job is not to make you thrive. Right. You're not gonna thrive if you're scared.
Right.
You know? I feel
Go ahead.
No, so I feel like a lack of confidence, insecurity, and fear is some three things that really do keep women from really coming into themselves, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that's what
I think I always tell people, you know, if you're going to fear anything, fear yourself. You know, fear that you're selling yourself short. Fear that you're not reaching for goals that you know you're capable of achieving. Fear that you're not being the person that you know you can be. You know, fear that you're not living a life you know you deserve, that the life that you deserve to live. Fear that you're not maintaining your standards and quality of life, you know, based on self-inflictions, you know, because when you start to recognize the issue, in my personal opinion, I feel like once you start to recognize the issue and you still kind of like, you know, just coast through that issue and kind of like, you know how we have things in life that we just deal with, and you know, we all got problems, and like you have those either reoccurring problems or those problems that just keep going that we don't ever really deal with, and we just kind of, you know, just let that just like let it control us. You know what I mean? I think that those should be the fears that we hold, and letting those things take grasp of us. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like they always say, only thing to fear is fear itself. You know
exactly.
what I mean? Because why are you so scared if there's, you know, it's kind of like you're fearing the possibility of a perception, right? How are you going to fear a variable of possibility? You know what I mean? Let it happen first. See what happens, and go through it, and then even if you don't, like we said, if you think negative, you're going to get a negative result. So if you're going into this negatively, if you're going into a situation, you know, pessimistic, then you're not going to accomplish anything.
Exactly, because you already have it set in stone what this outcome might be, and that's so you're looking for that outcome to be just what you just thought it to be, and that's very true. You know, and I feel like when I have people and they're like, well, you know, I'm scared of this or I'm scared of that. You know, I'm scared this might happen, that might happen. And my question to them is, okay, but what if it don't happen that way?
Right.
What if it don't happen that way? What won't happen if you don't go do? No, what won't happen if you do this? You know, and what will happen if you do this? You know, trying to open it up to them, give them different perspectives. I think that the hard thing is people in their perspective. They don't know how to look at it from a different perspective to open up. Once again, we're talking about to open up different opportunities to have different outcomes. You know, the more ways that you can look at something from a different perspective, that's the more choices you're giving yourself and more outcomes you're giving yourself, and better understanding
better understanding you have of the situation as a whole. I never fathomed the idea of having my own personal ideal of a situation and then using that to try to grasp complete understanding. You can't, there's no way you could completely understand anything, except for what's 2 + 2. But there's no way that you could completely understand anything without having different variables of the concept. You know what I'm saying? Different perceptions, you know, and perspectives of that concept. You know, because and then if you take all those things into consideration, it kind of gives you this broader understanding versus, like you said, this kind of tunnel vision, and then you could better see, you know, the goal you're trying to reach or obstacle you're trying to overcome.
Exactly.
So, a moment for you to shine here. I mean, you've been shining the whole time. This has been a great conversation. Like, I love it.
It has.
I can sit here and talk to you for like 5 hours. I'm gonna have to make this to like a 3-part episode. You know?
I know, right? Part 1,
right?
You know, right. But it is. We did touch on a lot of good topics. We touched on a lot of great topics. You know, I think it was very informative for for people to like hear, especially for those that don't want to ask for help, that's scared to ask for help, you know, to hear somebody talk about some of the, we probably touched on some of the things that they might actually be scared to talk about, you know, and to hear that, you know, it might kind of encourage somebody, you know, encourage them to like, all right, seek out some help, or to realize, that they need help.
But before we get I got a couple more things I want to touch on that I feel are very important to everybody. One, the first thing is, what would be some solid advice that you would have for, say, a young teen girl transitioning into adulthood before she's corrupted by, you know, all the, you know, disrespect and all the, what I'm looking for, all the distractions of the world, before she's tainted by all that? What's some advice that you would have for a young woman before she loses self, how to maintain her identity and grow into blossom to be the woman that she wants to be?
You know, as much as I would love for, you know, a teen to keep that innocence about her, the fact that that technology makes that hard.
Yeah, impossible.
Because these kids are on social media at 12, 13 years old, you know, and so they see it everywhere as it is already, but just say you come across someone who has not, the best thing that I think that the best advice that I could give, is just for her to understand that being who she is the best thing she can do for herself. Knowing who you are, knowing what your values are, what makes you you, take those things and hold it dear, because that way everything else you see around you can't change, the perspective that you have for yourself. But that's also a iffy thing, because as we get older, our values change. You have the values that we're taught as kids, and you have values that as you get into adulthood changed from what it used to be, and then on top of that, our values change depending on our the things that happen in our life. Like our life events change our values. And sometimes people are like, values, what do you mean? Not your beliefs or anything like that, your religious beliefs, like what are your core values? Is it love? Is it respect? Is it success? Like, what is your value? Like, what are the top things that you value? Because if you know what your values are, that helps you create the boundaries in your life. That helps you show other people how to treat you, because you know yourself. You know yourself. You know who you are.
Right.
Like I said, sometimes that's hard for people to even understand what their values are, because I don't think nobody really sits down and think like, damn, what is my values?
Right. Yeah.
What is my values? We don't think like that. We just really just get up and we just go with the motions of life, But if I had come across someone like that, and my best advice to her would be just to like understand who you are, what makes you unique,
right?
What makes you you.
Right. I think, and tell me if I'm on the right track here. I'm no life coach or guru or nothing, but I'm just a nigga living life. I think I have two core things that I think young women should listen to. One is set standards and expectations for yourself.
Exactly.
And be willing by any means necessary to live by those standards and expectations. As in, don't let I'm saying, like, it's okay to set your expectations higher, but don't ever set your bar lower to conform to relationships, society, work environment, or anything like that, because that's going to be one of the key things that make you lose sight of who you are as a woman. Right?
Exactly.
Is when you set these standards, uphold those standards, and understand that if people can't meet those standards, then that's not your problem, because you're not going to fall into the trap of being who these people want you to be, so you can be, accepted, or so, you can seem, awkwardly compatible with this group of people when it's really not you. And then that's how you lose sight of self. Right?
Exactly.
And then I think another big thing is for women is that I think women should start start having the strength to explore all positive possibilities in their life. Right? Don't be scared because society told you it's not possible, because you've seen some other woman fail, because some man told you can't do it, because your history and your parents didn't expect that for you, or that's not what you were raised to be. So set these standards and goals for yourselves and ambitions, and explore all possible revenues in a positive light. You know what I'm saying? To find true self. In order to find yourself, you're going to have to explore some things and learn some things about yourself that you like and don't like. And then finally, even though I said two, now there's three. The biggest thing that we talked about the whole show is having accountability for those actions. Accountability for your decisions.
Exactly. And that's true, and to piggyback off your the first thing, like I said, if a young female who has not been exposed to the toxic world we live in,
possible,
if I cross paths with a young lady like that, and she sat down and she just genuinely asked me, what can I do, to be true to who I am and or to be confident into this world that I'm about to step into, you know, my first thing is, I mean, and it could be because I'm coming from a place of where I would have wanted somebody to be for me when I was young, before I stepped into, you know, the world. So it's natural for me to like come with this like nurturing place, you know, but I would definitely have to sit down and ask, you know, have like a conversation, just ask, you know, because sometimes they can, being that young, they might not know what the hell their standards are in the first place, you know. So it's like, okay, so that's where we find out, baby, what do you value, like what is important to you right now, what is important to you right now, you know, and then from there we go on from there, you know, we go on from there, because
real quick to help the young people, can we take just a few examples of completely unnecessary, unviable life skills that people use as values, right? Can we just like mention them? We don't even got to discuss them. Can we just mention some things and be like, this better not be a fucking value? You like, what are some things that you're like, stop? You know what I'm saying? Like that is not, or maybe not so bold, because you know that's me being a guy, but maybe like you said, they don't understand their value. So maybe like if they say, well, I value money, maybe they're just interpreting the value incorrectly. So maybe it's not they value money because that sounds, you know, kind of shallow, right?
Right. Maybe they value the success that the money brings.
Right. Maybe they value success and, you know, having some feeling of accomplishment and achievement, right? And like legacy in the world, right? So what are like a few things that you think that one can be misconstrued as a viable value that kind of gets dumbed down into, I just want to be rich, you know what I'm saying? Like I value money, I value, you know what I'm saying?
And honestly, really, that's I wouldn't really say that valuing money is a bad thing, or you know, whatever, because like I said, going through life, I actually have this and I say that because I actually have this little exercise that I do with people to help them find their values, you know. And what I do, I tell them, you know, come up with 5 to 10 values, you know, whatever you feel is valuable to you, regardless of what it is. You know, it could be family, friends, money, success. It can, you know, whatever. Put that down, and then you're gonna make 3 columns. You're gonna put your values, you're gonna put your score, and then you're gonna put your rank. And you know, sometimes they get confused, like, what do you mean? You know, I'm like, all right, say you got like your top 5 values, you know, and maybe money is the first one, and you got respect under that, love under that, family under that, friends under that, you know. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into your score column, and you're gonna say, well, is money more important than family? Nah, so put that rank towards family. Is money more important than respect? Nah, put that rank towards respect. So you're gonna really go down. You're gonna really rank your values to find out what your real values are. You're gonna find out maybe money, right? Exactly. Find out money really probably ain't your real value. You know,
right.
So you know, like I said, and we do that. So that's how people learn. Okay, so this is what I'm valuing right now. These are my top 3 values right now, unless something happens in life, and say I'm single, so these are my thought values. Say later in life, I come with I get married or I have children. Now your values change again,
right?
You know, so it's always good to evaluate your values every 3 to 6 months to make sure you're living your life based off of your values, because people don't understand.
But what I want people to understand, I don't mean to interrupt, but what I want people to understand is reassessing your values is not the same thing as settling, right? To reassess your values doesn't mean that you're going to lower your standard for yourself.
No, exactly. Right. No, not at all. It just helps you to understand. It should help. If anything, your values are just helping you build your standards.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because this is what you value. So you're going to base your standards around the things that you value, you know? Right. So I honestly think people knowing what their values are really big, you know, because that really does set the foundations for you to set your boundaries, to set your standards, you know, so that way you making sure you are living your life truly being yourself. Right. You know, and not everybody else. You don't have somebody else's values, or you're not constantly valuing the things that your mom and dad taught you, you know. So
I have this saying, and I've been saying it for a long time, and it started making me listen to motivational stuff. It brought me to this point of wanting to do kind of this motivational thing. And as you see, my motivation is not the same as, you know, just drilling thoughts into somebody's head. It's really about core concepts, like we've been talking,
Exactly.
and understanding perspective and getting the basic knowledge before you move on to the, you know, it's like pre-calc, then calculus, you know what I'm saying? It's like pre-algebra, then algebra. You know, you need that basic core understanding before you can explore those variables and possibilities. And, you know, it's funny because I wasn't going to bring up to you, do you think people give up too easy? But we already covered that, because people do when you reach that, you know, when you're getting to that point,
Yep.
you know, you feel like you give up on it. I mean, if you want to touch on it some more, we can, but
No,
we've you know, we talk quite a bit about, you know, people giving themselves up too easily, you know, mainly because they didn't reach the standard of their ideal of where they should have been. You know,
exactly. Yeah, we and I think that was like in a nutshell talked about.
Yeah, yeah. So
people giving up on themselves, but I think people do really give up on themselves easily. Like I said, they get they get discouraged easily, especially when they're not getting to their end goal or feel like they're so far off from their end goal. So they give up on it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's like you have to give yourself more credit,
right,
for what you're doing, even if you are making the first step to change your life. Give yourself credit for that. You're making the first step to get out of your your comfort zone. Give yourself credit. Give yourself more credit than what you're giving yourself for. You don't understand how empowering that is.
Right. And just to, you know, go back to what you're saying before about, you know, finding your values and doing what's best for you and understanding what's actually best for you. You know, what I always tell people, and like I said, has been a saying for a long time, and got me into all this and really wanted to push core concepts and people doing things for them. You know, take the information I've given you and turn that into something that helps benefit you in the way you see fit. Don't walk what I'm speaking, but understand what I'm speaking so you can walk better. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And actually, I just made that up. That's going somewhere. I'm putting that somewhere. You can have it.
Exactly.
But what I always tell people is that whatever your it is, get it. You know, and I always say whatever your it is, go get that.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're never gonna find that level of happiness and completion, you know, within self. So don't go chasing after somebody else's dream, and don't go chasing your dream in somebody else's footsteps. You know what
exactly. I mean? That's very, very, very true. Like that's the easiest way to lose yourself. You know, so and this is all about how to be yourself, be comfortable with yourself, live freely as yourself.
Right.
You know, that's the best thing. The best thing you can do for yourself is just honestly, really, really get to know yourself so you can be yourself. You know what I'm saying? So many people wear these masks to try to conform with the rest of society. Don't even know who the hell you really are. You know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to blend in. No, the best thing you can do is be original, baby. You know, there's enough copies. It's enough copies. Be yourself.
Right, exactly. You know? Right. So, well, I've taken up a whole bunch of your time. I know you got children and responsibilities.
I know, that's true.
You know, and it's been a great conversation again. You know, I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this with me, you know, and enjoying this new experience with me. Like, it's great. This shit gets to be like giddy, you know, because I feel like I'm making an impact, even if it's one ear at a time. I don't care. 5 people hear it. Those are 5 people that
do it.
You
the
know,
5 people that heard it, and the shit, hell, they might know somebody that might need to hear it too and pass it right
exactly.
on. You know, that's all about what it really is. You know,
and that's the point of empowering and motivation. You know, I don't really have any. I don't expect to get any. It's not for any like thing at the end. You know, there's like no end game. Like, oh, I want to motivate people. You know, so I don't want to motivate people for my personal accomplishment, you know, like that's not why I chose this path. Like I do other things for my person. I got a landscaping company. I do gaming. I got so much other shit that I'm involved in for my own personal things. Right. And I decided to do motivational stuff to help somebody else with their end game. So my end goal basically is just to make everybody else around me stronger and better in their own version of them. Not what I think they should be, but how they feel and know they should be and what they deserve. You know,
exactly. And I totally agree. And which is why I became the type of life coach that I decided to become, because I could have been any type of life coach, truth be told. You know, I could have been a business life coach. There's a ton of shit I know about getting your business up and going, but that's not the direction I felt. I'm like, you know, not saying because I felt like it was a saturated market, because like I said, everybody delivers their information differently, you know, but I felt like I really wanted to genuinely help women, being that I came from this point in my life where I see a lot of women are,
and
you
it
know,
starts
it's
from
like,
within, right?
Exactly. And I'm like, I got myself out of this and I learned boom, 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 boom. So let me teach it to other women that I see that needs it. So that way they can live, you know, they can live happily, mentally and emotionally. You know, they have that self-confidence. They have that self-esteem boosters that they're looking for. You know, they can find their identities of who they really are, you know, so they can live, you know, in their purpose, you know. So that was like my main thing. So I'm like, I went through a lot of shit to get to where I am right now, with no walk in the park.
People don't know, but we've known each other for a long ass time.
Yes.
You know, our paths kind of veered this way. You know, we ran into each other kind of an unorthodox method.
I
know
know,
what I'm
right?
saying? And then our paths veer different ways, which is cool. You know, people live their lives and stuff like that, you know, and you know, I just want to applaud you from where you came from to where you are now. I don't know your whole story, but just to see a Black woman, an independent woman, you know, be strong and have the strength to put herself out there like that, because there's a lot of people that's gonna feel like you're going against the grain of what should be happening. And you got like the short end of the stick. You're African American, you're a woman, you're independent, you're strong. People don't like that shit. That shit's scary to society. You know what I'm saying? So for you to have the power and strength and let yourself be vulnerable enough to do that, I commend you and applaud you and, you know, respect you for that ability.
Thank you. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to help women that look like me. And I want them to understand it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to get that help. I know we're conditioned to be these super strong ass super women because first of all, we're Black, and that's just how we were conditioned to be strong Black women. Baby, it is okay to take the cape off and let somebody else help you sometimes, you know? And if you don't know how, guess what? There's somebody that understands where you're coming from that can teach you how, you know? And that's why, like I said, I decided to make my life coaching more based off of mental and emotional self-esteem and confidence, like around, to focus heavy on that part, because like I said, I know for us, we don't have that access to, you know, those things. And if we do, it's going to cost you hell, an arm and a leg, if you ain't got insurance to cover it on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like, you know what, I went through the whole thing. So let me go give it back to them, you know, to where it's, you know, beneficial for everybody, you know. So which is why, before we get off of here, I wanted to touch on the group that I made, because you know, I understand, you know, some people might come in and they might look at it like, damn, you know, we know it's life coaching, you pay for that, you know, or whatever. And I can understand sometimes that can be intimidating, you know, to want to have to pay for some. First of all, especially if you don't even really know what this person is offering. Is it something that I really want to, you know, buy into, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, or am I going to really get the results that I'm seeking, you know? So what I did is, when I built the group around that, you know. I'm like, well, I know some people might be afraid, don't think they need it, or they don't know how to start, you know. So I made the group, like I said, and it's a private group, and it's just for, you know, like-minded people going after the same thing of wanting to improve, you know, their mental and emotional health, you know. In there, I haven't offered it yet, but I'm getting to the point to where if I have enough participants to like offer free group coaching on things like confidence building and, like, you know, finding your core values, and finding your passion, you know, especially for people that want to get into, like, you know, the entrepreneur world, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, I think that finding your passion will also help you go out there and start a business that you're going to be successful in, instead of just starting a business because you see everybody else starting a business and that's not even your real passion, so you don't even keep the shit anyway, you know. And in the group, I offer, you know, like self-help guides, you know. I come up with ebooks every now and then, you know. I blog about I call it mental and emotional wealth drip, give you some drip on
We're
the
gonna put
emotional
all
health.
this, the link, just so everybody knows, the links to everything
Yes.
Coach B, the links to
It
everything
will
Coach B will be in the
down there.
description to the video.
Yes.
What is the name of your group? What is the name of your one-on-one room?
Oh, the Learning Circle to Confidence.
Learning Circle to Confidence. That's the one-on-one group. Make sure you check it out.
Yes, because believe one thing or another, it's all in the, like, everything that our life, it's like it's in a circle. You get from this, it's like it's just like a revolving circle, which is why I call it the learning, the learning group. But yes, I think it's a very beneficial group for people that just want to start, but don't want to like full-fledged commit quite yet.
Kind of like stick a foot in the door.
Yeah, get their feet wet, and they start, and if they start and they see, well, I think I need more help in this area. So, of course, you can always reach out. I always make that known. You can always reach out.
And I want people to know in your process to greatness, as you work towards achieving your it, and you come to a point where you decide that you need to reach out for help, that is a viable step in completing your goal. So understand, reaching out for help is not a setback. It's not a judgment. It's not a deterrent. It's not a way of building negative affirmations in a negative state of mind. Needing help means that you have grown beyond your means of understanding. So when you need help, that just means you need help understanding the next level in your path to success. So stop taking help and the idea of reaching out for help as a meaning of negative or stupidity or lack of understanding,
weakness,
right? Or being incompetent.
Showing weakness. Exactly. Asking for help and needing help is not a bad thing at all. That's the best thing you can do for yourself, is to help yourself. And if you need someone that's more knowledgeable in what it is that you're doing, reach out. Reach out. Yeah, that's all you have to really do, is just reach out. And I would suggest that they don't just reach out to just anybody, because that can be right. You reach out to just anybody, they go probably end up frustrating you even more, or just turning, or they just make the situation for yourself a little bit worse, because they're not giving you what it is that you're looking for. And I come to find that people just really want to be heard and understood. And like I said, that's one of the reasons why, like I said, I developed the group, so that people can feel like they're in a place where like-minded individuals going after the same goal that they're going for, and the only thing in there, like I said, as far as my group, is that I actually offer a lot of self-help material, to at least get you started, on it, and I do mentorships, as well, in there. So, and like I said, and it's private. You can even post anonymously. I was talking, you can, so like, you don't have to like go in there and like feel like you're gonna put your business on blast, because I found that you can turn the group into a parent group. So it's like more discreet. People feel like it's more discreet. You're not just putting your whole business out there. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely that. Like I said, and everything that's in the group is just really pretty much is to help them help themselves, even if they don't want to ask for it. Guess what? I bet money in that group there's the type of resource to help you, because I touch on so many things: confidence, negative self-talk, how to fix your negative self-talk, things like that, things that most people would charge you for. I feel like I can give that to you free, because I know it doesn't take away from my one-on-one coaching.
It's funny because, and when I edit the video, I'm gonna have this thing comes up that I always have quotes that like play on my screen and stuff like that, like motivational quotes. And one goes, you can't pay for absolute truth, because the falsified reality is exactly what we pay for.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So once again, man, I appreciate you so much for being here. This is fucking awesome.
Thank you for having me.
We'll have to get together sometime in the future and reminisce on the story of this conversation, and
I know
give people some other insight who may bring questions into the comments and stuff of that sort. It is Coaching Life Strategically with Coach B, right?
Because we do everything off strategy, baby.
Right. Hey, man, you got to move strategically, you know.
Yes.
I appreciate you again. I'm not going to hold up any more of your time. If you have any last maybe motivational boosters that you want to give out to people, something they can do, maybe in a daily routine, maybe an affirmation, whatever you feel is necessary.
You know, honestly, the only last thing that I can really say is since you said affirmations, I call them incantations.
Mm-hmm.
Is to develop some, you know, to develop some positive affirmations that you can say every morning before you start your day. You know, rather, you know, if it's confidence you need, you know, you sit there and you tell yourself, I am good enough, I'm loved, I have people that love me, you know, I have available resources to, you know, just pretty much talk positive affirmations into yourself every day before you start your day.
So I'm not going to drag out like another conversation, but so my lady brought this idea up to me that has to do with affirmation. So after we get done talking, I'm going to hit you up and I'm going to bring this to you, and maybe we can work together on this. Maybe you can help me, and we can just maybe this, because it's not a tough project, but it's it's a really good thing. And I think it'd be a great like promotional or motivational tool for my crowd of people, you know, your group of people, and everybody really, you know? So I'll bring that to your attention.
Yes, please do, because I do that every morning. I wake up, especially when it comes to my coaching. I wake up and I tell myself, you know, thank you. I speak it into existence, but I thank you for, you know, me, you know, for my successful coaching business. Thank you for providing the soil for which I plant my seeds. So I be with all types of positive.
Nice, yeah.
You know, speaking it into you know, existence. You know, just pretty much, you know, or if I feel like, you know, I'm not really big on money, but if people really big on success, you know, just understand, just tell yourself, you know, hey, me and money got a good relationship. You know, money loves me. I love money. You know, this business is gonna work. You know, and you gotta tell you, you know, speak that shit into existence. Develop some positive affirmations. Develop some positive affirmations and speak those affirmations every morning. You got to put that, you know, got to develop that habit. And if I understand right, a habit takes anywhere from 21 to 64 days to develop. So you can stick to that consistently for 21 to 64 days. Boom. It's a habit.
That's like that too.
It's a habit. You can develop a habit. Isn't that crazy? You can develop a habit just that quick. Right. You know, so I learned that with my life coach, because it's all about psychology. So, you know,
yeah, for
so,
sure.
You know, so that's definitely it.
What I'll do for you guys, watching, is that I'll post my personal affirmations that I say to myself every day. I'll have them scroll across the screen at the end of the video feed before I go into the extra motivation for you guys. This has been a 2-hour show, so I don't know how you could need any extra motivation at this point. She done gave you all the motivation you need, and if you need some more, Coach B's links is in the description below.
Exactly. I am all here. I'm here for. I don't mind giving out advice. I don't mind helping, you know, lead people on their journeys. You know, I always tell people, hey, start your journey. You choose the road less traveled and bloom roses. You know, so that's my thing. Choose the road less traveled, bloom roses. You know, so you know, for anybody else that might be coming behind you with that same thing, they can see, hell, shit, well, obviously somebody did it, you know, hell. You know, so I definitely, it's so many tools and strategies that I have to help people. So believe me, if you have something that you need help with, I bet money I have some type of strategy or tool or resource for it. And I definitely know my limits. So if you ever feel like, but if I'm gonna tell you something right now, if it's something past based, you're dealing with some type of trauma, I would definitely say seek a licensed therapist, because I am not a therapist. I'm a life coach, but I can definitely give you tools and resources.
Right. So I appreciate you again, Nene, aka Betty, aka Coach B.
I know all these names, you know what I'm saying?
I know. I appreciate you so much. Hey, you guys, you know who I am. Eric Harris here at the Motivation Conversation. This is episode 2 of the Deep in Conversation series with Coach B.
Which might be a 3-part. Look, he might release it in 3 parts.
Might release it in 3 parts. Life strategies. We're out of here, guys. And remember, whatever your it is, get it. I love you. I'll see you next time. We out.
All right. Bye.
Lost in my mind, moving through time. As deep as I'm searching, there's nothing I find that would give me a reason to give up my grind. So what they don't hear you, who cares if they sleep? I'ma hustle to death till they wake to defeat. Never been the one to hide when the enemy seeks. Trying to keep me close range cause they scared of my reach. And they telling me I'm cold cause they scared of my heat. Killing one shot like we playing hardcore. Who's best out of five? Well, you know I'm top four. And these niggas more ass than the underwear drawer. Thought I left but I'm back like I ran to the store. Even more cold like I came out of storm. As I walk through the dark as a spark. Trying to put a light to a life that ain't gleaming right. Everybody wanna see me fumble but I'm holding tight. As they try to keep me in the dark. But I own the night like the moon, so give me space. I'm the one, no place to take. Serving